this is our wintertime sort of hideaway down here in Florida. Kathy and I are Vermont residents, obviously, and that's where we call home. But to get out of the snow and nasty weather, we come down here to Florida for the winter months, and this is our little sort of piece of paradise and warm weather. We got, I think we got about 8 acres here, so it's not a really big piece, but for Florida, that's a pretty good sized piece of land. But we have fun. We got lots of animals here. We've got a nice 150-acre lake here that we've done a little fishing on. We haven't done a lot, but there's definitely some fish in there. But we really had a lot of fun here. There's a lot of animals around. Kathy's got some bear, and we've got lots of cranes and owls and eagles and all kinds of wildlife here. So it's been lots of fun for us to come down here for the winter months. The Ranger is obviously named after my Ranger bass boat. That's where I came up with the name, but he's a 8-year-old. We're not quite sure what he is. He's a mix. But he's a good boy. He's very protective of Kathy. But he's been a good dog. I'm Mike Comeau, and this is my story. Growing up on Lake Champlain was, a real blessing. I mean, what a beautiful part of the country to grow up on, and it really is what got me started in fishing. I have fond memories there as a kid. Both my grandparents had homes on the lake, so we used to go down on weekends and fish off the docks, and it was, just a really fun time growing up. Stayed in that area my whole life. It's still where I call home. Graduated high school in the 90s there, and got a job at a grocery store actually, and started working there for a little while. And then I ended up buying a building that had a small grocery store in it. Ran that for a little while, and then things just progressed really, and I ended up buying and building a small chain of stores, and met my beautiful wife in 2014, and she helped me run and build a few more stores, and we were lucky enough in 2018 to be approached by some competitors that I guess had enough of us, sort of competing with them. So it really wasn't our life plan to really even build or grow those stores. It just sort of happened organically, but we were lucky to build a really successful business, and we feel really blessed and happy, and feel really blessed that we built a business that somebody else wanted. Once we sold the stores, I've sort of relit that passion for the bass fishing, and the NPFL came along, and Kathy and I talked about it, and I said, this is my opportunity. We finally got ourselves in a spot, and I think I'm going to, sign up and try it out. She says she knows. Fishing to me encompasses lots of different things. It's not just about the actual fishing. I actually enjoy, some of the guys I don't think enjoy the drive. I actually enjoy the time driving. It just sort of, I don't know, I just like seeing other things, and so I get that enjoyment also. I like the competitive, I like meeting new people, I like traveling to new places. I think it's probably the unknown. I mean, you don't really sure. I mean, as much as the electronics that we have and all the research that we do, and knowing the body of water and everything, there's still an unknown factor, and it's sort of a good level playing field for everybody, and it's just that sort of every cast could be the next cast, and it just gets addicting. Figuring out different lakes. I like the challenge of trying to break down a new lake. And also, there's still a little bit of adrenaline that you get. I enjoy the first day, not only the first day of practice, but the first day of the tournament. There's some butterflies, there's some jitters, and I enjoy that. Starting out fishing was really just lucky enough that I had two grandparents that had homes on the water, and you know, we had docks, and you know, as a kid, I would go down there with a Zebco reel and throw it out there. One fish that I think really got me hooked, I don't remember the exact size. It was a smallmouth bass. It was probably a 2 or 3 pounder, but I had no clue what I was doing. And my grandfather had a Zebco reel, and he had a Rapala jerkbait on, and I didn't even know what a jerkbait was. I didn't even know what you were supposed to do with it. And if I remember right, the bill was busted off it, so it didn't even really work anyway. And it was, I remember it was a silver black back. I don't remember the model. But I didn't know what to do with it, so I casted it out there and just let it sit out there. And it was actually floating on the surface. It wasn't even moving. I didn't know you were supposed to reel it in. I just thought, you know, you throw it out there. So I went back to playing. I was doing something on the dock, and I heard a splash, and I remember turning around and looking out there, and the lure was gone. And I look out, and again, and the fish jumped, and then it took me a minute, but I realized that it had my lure, and then I reeled that fish in, and that kind of was the fish that I remember just got me hooked.
She says, boy, that's enough. Don't make yourself.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I have 2 boys, Jacob and Joshua. Jacob has a son named Trevor, which is my first grandson. I have a granddaughter, her name is Macy, and we have 2 nephews, Ryan and Andrew. So I guess the way that we met was we actually signed up for a matchmaking service. He was my first match, and I declined it. And then we sort of met for dinner at the Inn at Essex, and realized that we had a little bit of stuff in common. I don't know, we didn't really even talk about it. We just sort of slowly started meshing our lives together. And before we knew it, I was living at his house. And my house was a catch-all for, you know, teenagers.
This is Opie. This is the best dog ever. Don't tell that too loud when Ranger's not around, but he's outside, so he doesn't know.
I think when you're traveling as a wife during a tournament, you're more of the pit crew. Like, you know, if there's a part that needs to be picked up, or, and you know, if he's traveling with somebody, you know, you become the support system of the other partner as well. So, you know, they're fishing from morning till dusk, so you're in charge of food and all of that stuff. Michael is the type of guy that likes 3 meals a day, so it's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner kind of situation. But he's super easy, so you know, he'd be happy if I fed him steak and burgers every day.
Tonight we are gonna have, well, burgers, I know that. What else are we having? We're having some kind of potato.
Like a scallop potato.
Scallop potato kind of thing that Kathy
Caesar
made.
salad.
Caesar salad. What did we have last night? We had ribeyes last night. We'll mix it up and have some burgers tonight. To the best burger. It's the right percentage fat in the meat. It's got to be like ground chuck, where it's like 80-20 or even like 70-30. But the trick to that is if you get like 70-30, you'll have the best burger, but you got to make the burger probably twice as big as what you would think you're going to eat, because it'll shrink right up. And you also got to pay close attention to the grill when you do that, because that's where you get the big flame. Ranger, would you like to have a piece of cheese? Do you know how to sit? You do? You're not gonna have a burger though. Maybe somebody will share one with you.
Michael actually just got back from Mobile, Alabama, and this is his pride and joy. This is a '67 big block Corvette. He actually just almost got 100, but that's his goal, so he's going to be still working on that. He actually had several gentlemen in Mobile at the thing come up and offer him a significant amount of money for this car. I think him and I both have always had an affinity for cars. For me personally, I had an older brother that ironically was Michael's parents' best friend. I used to sit on a milk crate and watch my brother Larry work on his Volkswagen Beetle and his Harley all the time, and I was right next to him the entire time. So I've always been a little bit of a gearhead, which has passed on to my grandson who races motocross. When we sold the stores, I think it was sort of like one of those things that, you know, it's a pastime. So it's fun to do the research on the cars because the cars that we own are very unique. We don't buy cars that aren't unique. And they are all authentic cars to the year. So if it's a 57, it looks like a 57. We're not really into the resto mod kind of type cars.
You're the only one to ever make me feel this right. I wanna,
you know, you sort of look at these cars and you go to these car shows and all of a sudden it's always one of those things where people were like, oh man, I'd love to have one of those, but it's usually a financial reason, and that's just part of the, you know, the blessing that Kathy and I have had with the, you know, building that successful business. And when we sold, we were able to treat ourselves a little bit to some of the things that we've always enjoyed and loved doing, just didn't really either have the time or the resources or the ability. It's just been a fun pastime. It's something her and I can connect with, and she likes driving them a lot more than I do. I like driving them, but I like to kind of look at them and clean them, and I like to try to hunt down parts for them or study on the internet, try to figure out what's original, what's not, what do I need to find to make the car more original.
Yeah, it blows my mind.